What is up, YouTube? Live via satellite here, and today we are talking Kingdom, manga chapter 536. Now guys, before we get started, I have been sick this week to the point where I lost my voice. So if I sound crazier than normal, that's what it's all about. But this week's chapter, guys, I have noticed something. You know how we always looked at Ouhon, and we always looked at those swords on his back, and we're like, why does Ouhon ride around with all these useless swords? I think I figured it out.
The danger signal! Sword of Omens! Give me sight beyond sight!
Clearly, one of these swords is the Eye of Thundora, the Sword of Omens, which grants its user sight beyond sight. Because whatever Ouhon was able to see at the end of this chapter, you can tell he was able to see it from a different perspective. It's almost like he's able to get a bird's eye view of this entire battlefield. And from that, he was able to formulate some sort of plan. But I am getting way ahead of myself, and there is absolutely no need to rush. So the chapter starts out with a profusely sweating Shin still freaking out over the fact that Moten has been made a general. Even Heki and Shobunkun themselves will have to give Shin perfect marks for this performance. And then we get to see everyone's reactions, including Mako's men, to this news. But the messenger is not done delivering news just yet. Shin and his unit are told that their job is done in the left wing and that they are to return to the center. This here was big news to me because it was like, wow, so Shin is not going to be helping Moten out. So now we know that Moten is pretty much going to be on his own, which is going to be interesting to see how he's able to handle that sort of responsibility. And it also leaves the door open for something I was discussing in earlier reviews about Ousen probably being upset with Shin not finishing his task, because that seemed to be the only thing that he had to say to Shin. So we'll see how Ousen interacts with Shin once he returns back to the center. Then we get to see that both Ousen and Riboku are up bright and early, basically before anybody else. These two men are dedicated to their craft. Riboku even catches Kane off guard, who meant to get up before him and have things ready, like his tea and stuff like that. She really seems shocked. I wonder how Riboku acts if he doesn't get his tea. But looking at these next few panels, you can tell that Ousen and Riboku are ready for day 2. And no matter how you want to slice it, you have to give day 1 to Riboku. So to me, I'm very interested to see how Ousen can counteract some of Riboku's moves in day 2. So as the second day begins, we see that we're on the right wing. And Akko's in the process of getting his men into formation, and we see that Ouhon and the Gyokuho unit are actually included in the battle plans for the second day. Shitaku thinks this is because Akko has acknowledged the Gyokuho unit's strength, but Kanjo corrects him, letting them know that they're only included because Akko knows they'd butt in anyway. And then on the Zao side, we see that Chigaryu, who did not get a star for participation on the first day of battle, has now on the second day moved out his entire army of 10,000 and has weirdly positioned them behind Bananji's army. But everyone on the Quinn side notices this as well, and they figure they're planning something and that they should be very cautious of the army in the back. And with the clinch of Bananji's iron hammer, things get started. During all the fighting, they notice that Bananji and Gakui's HQs haven't really moved, which is much different from how they acted the day before. Some of the soldiers think they are afraid due to how they were able to handle them the previous day. But we see Akko and Ouhon are actually suspicious of their activities, as well as they should be, because we get to see that Gakui is flashing back to the scene the night before where Chigaryu pretty much made plans to slay another commander. And he says there's 2 ways to take out a commander, either using planned out schemes or ploys, or simply using a simple trick or two on the first day of battle, before they can become accustomed to your fighting style. And since he stayed on the sidelines for the first day, even though it's now the second day for Bananji and Gakui, Chigaryu's in an advantageous position due to the fact that it will be his first day actually engaging in battle. And we actually get to see that he knows exactly who he will be targeting on the second day. Back to the present, we see Chigaryu tell his men to move out. Akko and his men are quick to pick up on this movement and see that they're moving toward the right, and it looks like they're circling around Bananji's army to hit the right flank. Akko quickly commands that they send reinforcements to the right flank, and we can see that this is catching Akko's right flank off guard. They are actually worried that reinforcements won't make it in time. And as the right flank braces for impact, Chigaryu smoothly has his men turn to the left. And the whole right flank is shocked and puzzled. They don't understand what's going on, but then all of a sudden they realize that the target isn't them. The target is actually Ouhon. And Akko realizes this isn't good. Chigaryu's just faked out his entire squad. So now we see that from the very beginning of this maneuver, Chogoryu's target was Ouhon and the Gyokuho unit. And it was executed perfectly because Ouhon was already engaged with the Gakui army head on. So this flanking attack creates the perfect pincer. Akko realizes this and tells one of his commanders, Eki, that they ride to aid the Gyokuho unit. He sees this as a very real threat, and he realizes with this attack they're going after Ouhon's head. And he knows he has to stop it at any cost. But then we get a huge commotion and we see that Bananji has joined the fray. And Bananji asks Akko, is he sure that he wants to leave him alone there? And Bananji really knows how to make an entrance. If you look at this panel, you notice that he just has random body parts just flying all around him. So with the appearance of Bananji, Akko finds himself in the unenviable position of being stuck between a rock and a hard place. So he tells Eki to go ahead and take those 8,000 men and head over to Ouhon's aid, and he'll stay there to take care of Bananji. Bananji is informed that half of Akko's army has left, but Akko himself has remained to fight. And Bananji tells him that that's a wise move because had he left to save Ousen's son, his men would have been able to annihilate his army. And he says even though they're on opposite sides, he's earned his respect. But I don't think Akko shares that same sentiment. Back over to Ouhon, we see that Gakui has joined the fight too, and this man looks like he's completely lost control of all sanity. Then we get to see that Kanjo's analyzing the situation, and he realizes that these are no normal troops. They were actually able to close in on them very fast, and he realizes that if this keeps up, they won't last long. But as he's thinking this, he notices Ouhon just completely spacing out. And I have to admit, for a split second, I thought Ouhon was in shock and had shit his pants. And Kanjo asks, does he realize what the situation is? And he says that the number one priority is to get Ouhon out of there alive, and at this rate, the Gyokuho unit is as good as dead. Over at Chogoryu, we see that he is asking two of his men, Rin and Sho, to go bring him Ouhon's head. Chogoryu also says that Ouhon must know by now that this is the perfect pincer attack, and that with his sharp instincts, he should know that there is nothing that can save him now. Back over at Ouhon, we see that he is still spacing out, and he's pretty much thinking back to a conversation that he had with Moten. And Moten says to him, say Ouhon, recently have you ever had any moments where it's all like, damn, I'm awesome? Come on, surely you've had them every now and then, right? When it's like things just click together and you could see something incredible. You know that thing, what do you call it? I'm talking about the view that a great general sees. And from the way Ouhon was talking in that conversation, it doesn't seem like he's ever had that feeling before. But right now, as he tells Kanjo to get him Banyo so they can turn this situation around, you can tell that Ouhon just got that feeling for the first time, and I'm sure it feels like this.
I'm awesome!
And that was the chapter in a nutshell, guys. And this chapter of Kingdom was awesome. I know it was a long wait and it almost felt like an eternity, but this chapter was well worth it. We really wasted no time at all. We jumped right into the action. So the first thing I'm wondering is, what is the plan that Ousen had for this second day? Because he obviously knew that something was going to happen on this battlefield, but it doesn't look like he's been involved in any way, shape, or form with what is actually going on right now. And I'm actually interested to see if we get some sort of flashback, because we actually got to see the night before on the Zhao side, but we didn't get to see the night before on the Quinn side. So we don't know if Ousen had said anything in particular to Ouhon and Akko via messenger that could have caused Ouhon to have this eye-opening experience. But if Ousen isn't involved at all, and this is all going to be on Ouhon's shoulders, I am very interested to see what he actually comes up with. Because in this situation that he's in, it really doesn't look like there's any escape. So whatever he's planning has to be well outside of Chogoryu's calculations. And speaking of Chogoryu, this man is sharp. When I was first reading this chapter, I was sure he was going to try to go after Akko. But because he was actually able to sit back and observe and watch Akko fight and watch Ouhon fight, he was able to pinpoint that Ouhon is the bigger threat in this battlefield and that he needs to try to get rid of him right away. Because remember, Akko's fighting style is pretty much straightforward. But even Chogoryu says it himself when he was talking about Ouhon's sharp instincts. So he would rather get rid of Ouhon first because he would be more of a troubling opponent. Whereas with Akko, it's more of a by-the-book approach. And I'm actually very excited to see Akko versus Bananji. I'm not sure if either one of them would die on the second day. But if Akko were to die, I wouldn't be too surprised because he seems pretty handicapped by his concerns for Ouhon. But if anyone were to die on this battlefield on the second day, I would definitely want it to be Gakui. Because this man is just filled with vengeance, and it almost seems like he has no real usefulness, not even to his own allies. He always has these smart comments toward Bananji and Chogoryu, when to me it seems like he's the weakest of the bunch. So I'm really excited for next chapter. Hopefully we pick up right where we left off. That's exactly what I want to see. And I think that's where the chapter will be fully focused. I don't think we'll see Shin next chapter. But you never know, Hera is pretty good at packing these chapters to the brim. But anyway guys, that does it for my review for this week. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter in the comment section below. Please leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to share, comment, and subscribe. Peace out!